For 8 seasons, Charmed cast a spell on audiences with its mix of magic, family bonds, and supernatural adventures. But while the show lives on, some of the talented actors who brought its characters to life are no longer with us. Whether taken too soon by tragedy or lost after years of battling illness, their absence is deeply felt by fans who cherished their work. From beloved series regulars to unforgettable guest stars, these 37 Charmed actors have left behind a legacy that will never fade. Shannen Doherty as Prue Halliwell. Shannen Doherty was born on April 12, 1971, in Memphis, Tennessee. When she was 27 years old, she portrayed Prue Halliwell in Charmed, 1998, embodying the strong-willed and protective eldest sister whose sense of duty often placed her at odds with her siblings. With her commanding presence, she brought depth to Prue, making her a fan favorite. However, behind the scenes, tensions with co-stars led to her abrupt departure after 3 seasons, marking another setback in her career despite her early success in Beverly Hills, 90210. Off-screen, her personal life was equally turbulent, with 3 failed marriages, including a bitter divorce from Kurt Iswarienko, finalized just before her passing.
Something borrowed and something blue. Yes.
In 2015, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, and though she fought with resilience, the disease eventually spread to her brain and bones. On July 13, 2024, she passed away at the age of 53 at her home in Malibu, California.
We're all fiends from these walls. Say, sister.
Rebecca Balding as Elise Rothman. Rebecca Balding was born on September 21, 1948, in Little Rock, Arkansas. When she was 50 years old, she joined Charmed in 1998, first appearing as Aunt Jackie before returning in 2002 as Elise Rothman, Phoebe Halliwell's no-nonsense yet supportive editor-in-chief. Her character became a staple of the show, adding depth to Phoebe's professional life until the series ended in 2006. Off-screen, she found lasting love with director James L. Conway, whom she met while auditioning for The Boogans. However, behind her successful career, she battled ovarian cancer, a fight that eventually took its toll. On July 18, 2022, she passed away at the age of 73, leaving behind a devoted husband and a legacy of memorable performances. Michael Gilden as Finnegan. Michael Gilden was born on September 22, 1962. When he was 41 years old, he appeared in Charmed in 2003 as Finnegan, a mischievous yet kind-hearted leprechaun who brought a touch of whimsy to the show. Though his role was brief, it was a highlight in a career often marked by the struggles of being a little-person actor in Hollywood. Despite these challenges, he found love with actress Meredith Eaton, whom he married in 2001 and supported her own acting career. However, beneath the surface, he battled deep depression, a fight that ultimately overwhelmed him. On December 5, 2006, he took his own life at the age of 44, leaving behind a grieving wife and a stark reminder of the unseen struggles many face. Tony Todd as Avatar of Force. Tony Todd was born on December 4, 1954 in Washington, D.C. When he was 48 years old, he played the Avatar of Force in Charmed in 2002, embodying a powerful and enigmatic entity who blurred the line between order and destruction. His deep voice and towering presence made him an unforgettable force on screen. Off-screen, he found stability in his marriage to Fatima Cortez Todd, with whom he had 2 children, Alexander and Ariana. However, his later years were marked by a battle with cancer, a fight he kept largely private.
We've been waiting for this moment, Cole.
Yes.
As his health declined, he withdrew from the spotlight. On November 6, 2024, at the age of 69,
they were actually pushing for an Eddie Murphy type.
He passed away at his home in Marina del Rey, California, leaving behind a legacy of unforgettable performances.
You take their spot in the realm of the living.
Peter Siragusa as Bauer. Peter Siragusa was born on February 16, 1955. When he was 47 years old, he appeared in Charmed in 2002 as Bauer, a ruthless and menacing demon who brought an intimidating presence to the show. Though best known for roles in Home Alone and The Big Lebowski, his personal life was far less stable. A long marriage ended in a painful divorce, leaving him emotionally adrift. And despite having children, family tensions led to estrangement. In 2022, his health took a devastating turn when a sudden illness struck, worsening rapidly. On October 11th, 2022, he passed away at the age of 67, spending his final days in solitude. Tyler Christopher as Anton. Tyler Christopher was born on November 11, 1972, in Joliet, Illinois. When he was 28 years old, he appeared in Charmed in 2000, portraying Anton, a manipulative warlock entangled in a tragic love story. While his performance added depth to the supernatural drama, his real-life struggles were far more devastating. He found success on General Hospital but battled alcoholism and bipolar disorder, which took a toll on his personal life. His marriage to Brienne Pettigo ended in divorce, and despite having 2 children, his addiction strained his role as a father. Financial troubles and multiple rehab attempts followed, leading to homelessness at one point. On October 31, 2023, just days before his 51st birthday, he was found dead at home from positional asphyxia due to acute alcohol intoxication, a tragic end to years of struggle. Denise Dowse as Angel of Destiny. Denise Dowse was born on February 21, 1958. When she was 47 years old, she appeared in Charmed in 2005 as the Angel of Destiny, a powerful celestial being who guided the charmed ones through life-altering choices with wisdom and authority. With a career spanning decades, she became known for roles in Beverly Hills, 90210, and Insecure, earning recognition for her commanding screen presence. Despite her success, she never married or had children, dedicating herself fully to her craft. In her later years, her health took a tragic turn when she fell into a coma due to severe meningitis. On August 13, 2022, she passed away at the age of 64, leaving behind a legacy of strong and unforgettable performances. Coolio as Lazarus Demon, known by his stage name Coolio, artist Leon Ivy Jr., was born on August 1, 1963, in Monessen, Pennsylvania. When he was 39 years old, he appeared in Charmed in 2002, portraying the Lazarus Demon, a sinister entity with the unnerving ability to resurrect himself after every defeat. His deep voice and commanding presence made him a memorable supernatural villain, though his time on the show was brief. By then, Coolio had already cemented his legacy with the Grammy-winning hit Gangsta's Paradise, but his fame proved difficult to sustain. Off-screen, his personal life was just as turbulent. Married once to radio personality Josefa Salinas, with whom he had one of his 10 children, he struggled with the pressures of fatherhood while navigating an unpredictable career. His battles with addiction and legal troubles often overshadowed his later attempts at reinvention, including reality TV and cooking ventures.
The source before you would have rewarded me for killing one of those witches.
But behind the scenes, his health was quietly deteriorating. Then, on September 28, 2022, at just 59 years old,
like this, and I never looked up.
He was found unresponsive in a friend's bathroom, having succumbed to an accidental overdose of fentanyl, heroin, and methamphetamine, a tragic end for a man who once stood at the pinnacle of hip-hop. Joe E. Tata as police inspector. Joe E. Tata was born on September 13, 1936, in the Bronx, New York. When he was 65 years old, he appeared in Charmed in 2001, playing a relentless police inspector entangled in supernatural cases beyond human comprehension. His performance carried both authority and vulnerability, reflecting a career built on playing memorable, steadfast characters. Best known as Nat Busicchio in Beverly Hills, 90210, Tata enjoyed decades in Hollywood but often found himself typecast. His personal life held its own challenges. His marriage ended in divorce, and while he had a daughter, their relationship became strained as his health declined.
It's remodeled. Okay, all right. So they took
Remodeled, yeah. That's right.
In his later years, he battled Alzheimer's, a cruel disease that slowly stripped him of his memories, his identity, and ultimately, his connection to those he loved.
And the soul.
Dylan here's been bugging me about hiring someone to help me.
By the time he passed away on August 24th, 2022, at the age of 85, he had faded into a world of confusion, a heartbreaking end to a life spent entertaining millions. Billy Drago as Barbas. Billy Drago was born on November 30th, 1945, in Hugoton, Kansas. When he was 53 years old, he portrayed the sinister demon Barbas on Charmed in 1999, a role that started as a one-time villain but grew into a fan-favorite antagonist. With his eerie presence and chilling performance, he embodied the demon of fear, tormenting the Hallowell sisters across 5 seasons. Off-screen, he shared a long marriage with actress Silvana Gallardo, remaining together until her passing in 2012. However, his later years were marked by health struggles, and on June 24, 2019, he passed away in Los Angeles at the age of 73 due to complications from a stroke.
My little isolation chamber don't get any visitors. I think you're the first.
Gerry Becker as Ramus. Gerry Becker was born on April 11, 1951. When he was 51 years old, he portrayed Ramus in Charmed in 2002, a mystical elder who guided the charmed ones with wisdom forged over centuries. Though his character exuded authority and mystery, Becker's own career followed a more subdued path. His personal life carried its own struggles. He married young, but financial hardships and long periods away for work strained the relationship, ultimately leading to divorce. He had 2 children, but remained emotionally distant from them, a gap that only widened with time. In his later years, complications from diabetes took a toll on his health, forcing him into a slow and painful decline. On April 13, 2019, at the age of 68, he passed away, having lost much of what he had spent a lifetime trying to build. William Morgan Sheppard as Merrill. William Morgan Sheppard was born on August 24, 1932. When he was 71 years old, he portrayed Merrill in Charmed in 2003, a wise, ancient being who carried the burden of knowledge, offering cryptic yet invaluable insights. Much like his character, his deep dedication to acting took a toll on his personal life. Though he was married for many years, his commitment to his craft created distance within his family. As his children grew up with only fragmented memories of him, attempts to mend the past proved too late. In his later years, illness crept upon him, his once commanding presence fading into frailty. By his 80s, his health had deteriorated significantly, and on January 6, 2019, at the age of 86, he passed away, his powerful voice reduced to silence. Elizabeth Sung as Mrs. Chow. Elizabeth Sung was born on October 14, 1954, in British Hong Kong. When she was 44 years old, she portrayed Mrs. Chow in Charmed in 1998, bringing warmth and quiet resilience to her role. Originally trained as a ballet dancer, her dreams were shattered by injury, leading her to acting, where Hollywood often confined her to small, stereotypical roles despite her immense talent. She found love in her marriage to writer and actor Peter Tulipan, but the pain of infertility left a lingering void.
I think none of it is easy, and yet everything is easy.
In her later years, an even greater battle emerged: lymphoma, a silent adversary she faced with quiet strength. On May 22, 2018, at the age of 63, she succumbed to the disease, her passing marked by sorrow rather than the accolades that should have accompanied her remarkable career. Bruce Gray as Keel. Bruce Gray was born on September 7, 1936. When he was 69 years old, he appeared in Charmed in 2005 as Keel, an elder who provided wisdom and strategic guidance to the Charmed ones during their battles against dark forces. A veteran actor, Gray was also known for his roles in Starship Troopers and Traitors, earning a reputation for portraying authoritative and dignified characters. However, his personal life carried its own struggles. His marriage ended in an amicable yet painful separation, and though he had children, distance strained their relationships.
It was really just a Republican without a suit.
In his later years, he was diagnosed with brain cancer, which slowly took away his ability to work and communicate. On December 13, 2017, he passed away at the age of 81, leaving behind a legacy of distinguished performances across film and television. Jeanette Miller as adult Christina Larson. Jeanette Miller was born on July 30, 1932. When she was 68 years old, she appeared in Charmed in 2000, playing Christina Larson, a wise and kind-hearted woman whose guidance proved invaluable to the Halliwell sisters. Her warm yet mysterious presence resonated deeply, reflecting her real-life persona as a character actress often cast in roles of elderly wisdom. Despite a long career, she lived a quiet life, outliving her husband and spending her later years alone with only the fading memories of Hollywood's fleeting embrace. As time passed, her health declined, and she withdrew from the public eye. On November 4, 2016, at the age of 84, she passed away quietly, her death receiving little attention, her lifetime of performances slipping into obscurity. Suzanne Krull as Imara. Suzanne Krull was born on July 8, 1966, in New York City. When she was 39 years old, she appeared in Charmed in 2005, portraying Imara, a ruthless demon who schemed her way into possessing Phoebe Halliwell's body. Her chilling performance brought a sinister edge to the series, proving her ability to command attention even in a single-episode role. While she found steady work in television, appearing in shows like General Hospital and My Wife and Kids, she never quite broke into Hollywood's upper ranks. Outside of acting, she shared a deep bond with her husband, Peter Sprite, a fellow performer who understood the struggles of the industry.
Actually, he said it this morning while we were having sex, that he gets...
Yet behind the scenes, Krull faced private battles, including health concerns she often brushed aside. Tragically, on July 27, 2013, at just 47 years old, she died suddenly from a ruptured aortic aneurysm, leaving behind a legacy of compelling performances and a grieving husband who had lost his greatest supporter. Richard Lynch as Cronin. Richard Lynch was born on February 12, 1940, in Brooklyn, New York. When he was 63 years old, he appeared in Charmed in 2003, portraying Cronin, a cunning and ruthless demon whose sinister schemes made him a formidable enemy to the Halliwell sisters. Known for his chilling performances, Lynch brought a lifetime of experience to the role, shaped by both personal struggles and a dedication to his craft. In 1967, he suffered severe burns in a drug-related accident, an event that transformed both his life and career. Despite rebuilding his professional success with roles in The Sword and the Sorcerer and Invasion USA, he battled inner demons and became increasingly reclusive in later years. Twice married, he lost his only son in 2005 and spent his final years in solitude. On June 19, 2012, at the age of 72, he was found dead in his California home, his passing as enigmatic as the villains he so often portrayed.
Being able to work in your craft.
Larry Holden as Jeff Carlton. Larry Holden was born on May 15, 1961, in Framingham, Massachusetts. When he was 40 years old, he portrayed Jeff Carlton in Charmed in 2001, delivering a performance that blended quiet intensity with a touch of mystery. Off-screen, he found stability in his marriage to Hanna Christiansen, though their life remained private and without children. But just as his career seemed poised for more, an unseen battle loomed: cancer, an opponent he faced with little public attention. On February 13, 2011, at just 49 years old, he lost that fight, leaving behind a filmography that hinted at the leading man he might have become.
Yeah, my wife and I were going to make the film, our last film.
Henry Gibson as Sandman. Henry Gibson was born on September 21, 1935, in Germantown, Pennsylvania. When he was 68 years old, he brought a whimsical touch to the fantasy drama Charmed in 2003, portraying the Sandman, a mystical guardian of dreams who helped the charmed ones battle their deepest fears. Off-screen, he shared a deep bond with his wife, Lois, until her passing in 2007, a loss that left him devastated. Though he had 3 children, he faced his later years in private, quietly battling cancer.
Perhaps the audience of Stravinsky.
On September 14, 2009, at 73, he passed away, leaving behind a legacy of humor and heart that stretched across decades of television and film.
You know I can't stand to see you cry.
Matthew McGrory as Ogre. Matthew McGrory was born on May 17, 1973, in Westchester, Pennsylvania. When he was 30 years old, he appeared in Charmed in 2003, playing the Ogre, a towering yet misunderstood creature whose intimidating size masked a gentle nature. His imposing 7'6" frame made him a natural fit for roles in fantasy and horror, but it also led to typecasting, limiting his opportunities despite standout performances in Big Fish and House of 1,000 Corpses. Off-screen, he shared a long-term relationship with his girlfriend, Melissa, but the challenges of his unique condition and career pressures often weighed on him.
Drew Carey did a Marilyn Manson video.
Did the Drew Carey show?
Yeah.
Living with gigantism placed an immense strain on his heart, and his health steadily declined over the years. Then, on August 9, 2005, at just 32 years old, he passed away from congestive heart failure, an extraordinary life cut tragically short. Pamela Gordon as Amanda. Pamela Gordon was born on April 8, 1937, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. When she was 63 years old, she appeared in Charmed in 2000, portraying Amanda, an enigmatic and eccentric figure who added intrigue to the series. Though married to Mark Wedner for 43 years, she had no children and leaned on close friends for support. In 2003, she was diagnosed with esophageal cancer, and complications from pulmonary failure worsened her condition. Despite performing in Harvey at the Laguna Playhouse just weeks before her passing, she succumbed to her illness on September 21, 2003, at the age of 66, leaving behind a quiet yet enduring legacy in Hollywood's character acting world. Anne Haney as Aunt Gail. Anne Haney was born on March 4, 1934. When she was 66 years old, she appeared in Charmed in 2000 as Aunt Gail, a seemingly warm and caring figure who ultimately betrayed the Halliwell sisters in a desperate attempt to regain her youth. Known for her sharp yet endearing performances, she also left a mark with memorable roles in Mrs. Doubtfire and Liar Liar. Off-screen, she shared a deep bond with her husband, John Haney, until his passing in 1980, after which she devoted herself to acting and raising their daughter.
As your court liaison, I will be looking at 2 things.
In her later years, she struggled with congestive heart failure, which eventually took her life on May 26, 2001, at the age of 67, leaving behind a legacy of wit, warmth, and timeless performances. Frances Bay as Old Phoebe. Frances Bay was born on January 1, 1919. When she was 83 years old, she portrayed Old Phoebe in Charmed in 2002, embodying a future version of Phoebe Halliwell who carried the weight of a life filled with love and loss. Yet her personal life was marked by profound grief. In 2002, tragedy struck when her husband of over 50 years was killed in a car accident, leaving her utterly devastated. Her only son had died young, deepening her sorrow and isolation. In her later years, a horrific accident left her with a severe leg injury, confining her to a wheelchair and compounding her struggles. Weakened and in chronic pain, she ultimately developed pneumonia. On September 15, 2011, at the age of 92, she passed away, her final years defined by both resilience and heartbreaking loss. David Carradine as Tempest. David Carradine was born on December 8, 1936, in Hollywood, California. When he was 63 years old, he played Tempest, a powerful demon who manipulated time on the hit series Charmed in 1999, bringing an eerie presence to the role with his deep, commanding voice and mystique. However, his personal life was far more turbulent. Married 5 times, each relationship ended in heartbreak, and his struggles with addiction often made headlines. Though he remained active in the industry, his later years saw him starring in lower-budget films, a stark contrast to his past success. Then, in a tragic turn, he was found dead in a Bangkok hotel room on June 3, 2009, at 72. The result of accidental asphyxiation, a shocking and controversial end to a life of triumphs and turmoil. Scott Plank as Eric Lohman. Scott Plank was born on November 11, 1958, in Washington, D.C. When he was 41 years old, he appeared in Charmed in 1999, portraying Eric Lohman, a relentless agent whose pursuit of justice often put him at odds with the Halliwells. Behind the confident persona, he longed for stability, yet his personal life remained unfulfilled. He never married or had children, and as he entered his 40s, he wrestled with the fear of never quite making it.
What happens out here is my whole world. And when some...
Then, on October 24, 2002, at just 43, tragedy struck. Plank succumbed to injuries from a devastating car accident, leaving behind a legacy of untapped potential and a career that ended far too soon. Though these charmed actors are no longer with us, their performances continue to enchant fans, keeping their memory alive. Their talent and dedication helped shape the magic of the show, leaving a lasting impact that won't be forgotten. Who was your favorite charmed actor? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content on your favorite TV shows.